even in the advanced economies. Market conditions everywhere are fluid, complex, fast-paced, volatile for various reasons. Indian economy was opened in 1991 by then Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. Post-opening of the economy, many transactions started happening between the group companies and the group companies having the base in India and overseas. And amongst them, the transfer pricing between them started playing a crucial role, which impacts the profit and loss account of the Indian companies. Globalization has brought many new things in the tax laws and also various laws which are affecting multinationals. In 2001, Finance Act 2001 has brought in transfer pricing effective from 2000, assessment year 2002-2003, and the law has been evolved over the period of time. There are increasing complexities in the law. TP outcomes need to be in line with the business values, business creation, significant increase in TP disputes, global focus on the base erosion and profit shifting, ensure TP in focus for all stakeholders. Litigation over TP is increasing. At times, aggressive positions have been taken both by the corporates, also as the tax collectors. But undercurrent with the department is that he is heading towards the minimizing this litigation, and this has given birth in various other forms in the TP like the APA, MAP, and from the press report is understood that around 100 cases of MAP between India and US are going to be settled by April 2015. The TP law has evolved over the period of time. Chamber has took this opportunity to educate its members so that they can implement this law. It's new opportunity which is available. Every year new developments are happening. Hence, year after year, this TP course is being organized. Committee has worked intensively on this TP course under the advice given by S.P. Patel. Just few of the persons who are not a member of Chamber, I like to say a few words of the Chamber. Chamber is 88-year-old organization. Probably is one of the oldest organizations in India. It has uniqueness. Its members are chartered accountants, advocates, tax practitioners, cost accountants, company secretary, and all the tax practitioners, ITPs. Chamber has always taken a lead always on the various fronts, be it any issues which are faced by taxpayers. Chamber is regularly invited by the CBDT for presenting its pre-budget memorandum. It has, at times it has also been filing the petitions for the cause of the business community and the tax practitioners. Whoever is not a member of the Chamber, because this is the April month will be coming and membership is from the April to March, you can become a member of the Chamber. The details are available on the website, or even the forms will be available, which can be taken from the staff of the Chamber. With these few words, I once again welcome you to this TP course, intensive TP course, and I hand over the proceedings to Chairman Sri Naresh Ajmani, TP further. Thank you.
Sri Parashpay Sarla, Mr. Gulati, and dignitaries on the dais, and friends. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you at this 5th intensive long duration transfer pricing study course, which is designed to deal with this subject entirely from the basics till almost the advanced level. This subject is a bit unique in the sense that it does not deal with exact numbers the way we are used to in the regular computation of income tax. It deals with estimations and approximations. we have to deal with the key issue of arm's length price. We have to work out that, which probably does not exactly exist. To give an illustration, we had the figures of losses of coal block allocation, where the CAG itself gave the figures ranging from 70,000 crores to 1.86 lakh crores, and the previous government said it is zero, and today the reports say it has touched 2.7 lakh crores. So just to give you an idea how this amount, the figure of ALP has to be worked out, which is so difficult. In these circumstances, we have designed this course to deal with the entire subject. Today we have the arm's length price concept, not only in income tax, but also in service tax, in FEMA, in company law. And keeping these issues in mind, how do we advise the client is what we will be dealing with this course. Against that, we have an objective that developing countries like India should not lose the revenues which it is rightfully entitled to. So between these two issues, how does one deal with this subject? I think we could not have a better person to give a keynote address to us than Mr. Gulati, who will be explaining his perspective of the matter. Before I request him, may I request Hinesh Bhai Joshi to introduce him. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I think in the next session, if people who are sitting on this side, if you can just come this side, it will be more better for the speaker and also for you.
There will be better interaction.
Yeah. Okay, just to start the topic, we could not have a better person than Mr. Gulati. He is not a very fine human being, but a very good academician, a very great supporter of chamber, always ready to impart knowledge, share his views, and be part of any forum wherever chamber organizes any conferences. Probably, sir, this must be your 5th year of association, I think, on this course, or maybe more, I am not sure, because I think from very first year, I think sir is coming, and this is our 5th TP course. Sir, thank you for being part of chamber at all point of time and guiding us. But just to formally introduce sir, he has given his very short biodata, but I know it's very, if I search on Google, it would be much more, but his humbleness and simplicity has given me a very short biodata. Sir is a mechanical engineer, joined the Indian Revenue Service in 1989. Later on, he also completed his LLB, was posted at various stations all over India as Assistant Commissioner and Additional Commissioner. He was a TTO and Additional Commissioner of Income Tax, International Tax for 3 years. Recently, he is taken over as Commissioner of Income Tax, International Tax 1. 1 is the most important position. And before that, he was also CIT Appeal Transfer Pricing and member of DRP for 2 years, I think DRP 3. Sir was member of DRP 3 for 2 years. So he has almost a 360-degree view of the entire subject, international tax, domestic tax and transfer pricing. So I think he could give a complete bird's eye view of the subject and bless us with his knowledge. But before that, I request all of us to light the inaugural lamp and then start the session.
Please.
Before I invite Mr. Gulati, I request our President, Mr. Paras Sabla, to offer a memento to sir to come all the way today morning and bless us. I now request Mr. Gulati to say his words of wisdom.
A very good morning to all of you. Mr. Naresh Ajwani, President, Chairman of Organizing Committee, Mr. Paras Sabla, Mr. Doshi, Mr. Patel, Ms. Namrata, and the esteemed participants. In fact, when I was approached to deliver this keynote address, with my reluctance, I agreed. And since then, it is in my mind, and I was questioning myself as to what actually I can include in my address. As I have been invited here to give a keynote address, I would expect that in this intensive course of transfer pricing, I am supposed to speak on or give my views on what would be the key in the transfer pricing. The transfer pricing as such has two words. One is transfer, the other is pricing. I am sure if the nomenclature of the subject has to speak something about the subject, then it is essentially to deal with something which involves a transfer, and then it deals with something which involves pricing of something. The interrelation between the transfer and the pricing is in respect of a particular thing which is transferred and the pricing related to that. Now actually when we practice and think about from the perspective of input tax, it actually comes in our mind that anything which is transferred is a revenue neutral proposition, because the transfer presupposes a consideration which is not there or a consideration which is not material. But then in transfer pricing, we need to actually think about as to why this particular subject worldwide is known as transfer pricing and not as transaction pricing. The reason is only one, that the transfer essentially takes place between the two related parties, known parties, proximate parties, and therefore it is a transfer and not a transaction. But the entire attempt of the legislation of transfer pricing world over is to treat such transfers as transactions, as would have taken place between the two independent entities, two independent parties, and attribute a fair and reasonable price. Now this finding out of fair and reasonable pricing, what in this particular piece of legislation is termed as arm's length pricing, is what is the exercise in respect of which the transfer pricing is legislated. At this point in time, I would not want to really go into the nitty-gritties of the legislation. I would not really want to go into the technicalities of it. But then, having spoken about what is transfer pricing, it becomes essential to know also why transfer pricing. In the era of globalization of economy, the expanding footprints of multinational enterprises, the play of Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest is actually translating into actions of more merger and acquisitions and aggregation, resulting into a conglomerate of business houses and business groups. In the perspective of this legislation, we term them as multinational enterprises. These multinational enterprises are having their presence in many countries, or definitely in more than one country. You would appreciate that the taxation per se is the legislation of one country, and its effect and boundaries are only in respect of the territorial area where such law can be implemented or administered. Under the facts and situations when the multinational enterprises would have their presence in more than one country, having one common control, supervision, and aim to maximize their profit. That is one. And secondly, to minimize their encumbrances by way of their taxations. It is this second limb which is minimizing their tax encumbrances that the revenue authorities across the world are interested in. The transfer pricing or the transfers within the organization, within the same multinational enterprises, is one of such areas which works as a mechanism by which profit from one jurisdiction could be transferred as a profit to other jurisdiction. Now, we are all aware that in respect of various jurisdictions, there are benefits, pros and cons in respect of the taxability of such profits. So depending upon what could be suitable to one particular multinational enterprise, the profit shifting by way of some level of manipulation in the transfer price of the international transaction takes place. This is typically happening, and the studies have suggested that the multinational enterprises world over are resorting to price the transfer of their goods, services, or any other aspect to suit their conveniences. It is this aspect by which a profit from one jurisdiction, I, as an officer of revenue service in India, would be interested to restrict that kind of a transfer whereby the profit of such multinational enterprise in India is reduced or by which it goes down. This has actually given the need of legislating the transfer pricing law in various countries. The mystery or the difficulty which has been there in and around transfer pricing is because of two reasons. Reason number one, that it is a relatively new piece of legislation. In India, it came with effect from 1/4/2002. World over, probably it was about maybe 20 years before that. Second aspect is that the people who have been into the practice of this particular field have been limited. And that could be for the reason that understanding the concept, suggesting what could be the proper arm's length price, and going into the depth of the subject has actually been not so beneficial. But with the spread of the subject, I think, especially with the legislation in respect of a specified domestic transaction, it becomes essential that every practitioner who is there in the field of advising or counseling should know what transfer pricing is. You would appreciate that when you have to have only one aim, and that is to determine the arm's length price of a transaction, it appears very innocuous. But you have to actually think about that it is in respect of that transaction which has taken place internally inside one multinational enterprise. My task is something like this. What is going inside one household? I need to look around the world and find out if there is something similar happening in some other household. There are parameters to find that out, no doubt. But being these transactions which are characterized as very unique, they are characterized as not having any parallel or a comparable. The challenging task becomes is to identify what is a comparable and how that comparable probably could be made to suit to determine the arm's length price of that international transaction. As I said to you, the primary aspect, the example that I gave, is that what is happening within one household. First of all, as a professional, you need to know what is happening there, and for that, you actually have to go into it. The challenge that probably the professionals face, and subsequently the department also, is that the visibility into what is actually happening within the M&E is not so much with the professionals, or maybe that is made out like that. I am not really too sure about it. But then it is this aspect which becomes very, very important. Unless and until you yourself know full facts about your international transaction, it is next to impossible for you to know what could be comparable to that, and then subsequent how you could determine the arm's length price of that international transaction. In the piece of legislation that we have in India, there are ways, there are mechanisms to determine the transfer pricing or the arm's length price. There is a legislation relating to what kind of documentation that a taxpayer should maintain. Typically, in my short experience in the field that I have seen, the requirement of documentation which is there in the law are actually interpreted in a very, very narrow manner, and it is put forward before the authorities as a compliance to such encumbrance under the law. This actually, at a later stage, becomes crippling for the professional as well as for the revenue authorities, as maybe in the absence of full facts of the case, the professional tries to represent his case to be correct, and in respect of such half facts known, the revenue authorities decided either for or against the assessee. And such position escalates subsequently to the litigations. I have seen the whole topics which are going to be covered in this particular intensive course. And I see that as far as maintenance of documentation is concerned, one session has been given to Mr. Suhas Kulkarni, who is a TPO at Pune, and there's a minor reference which I think is going to be getting covered today. I have a feeling that when you guys go back after this course, you shall have a fairly good idea as to what transfer pricing is. You may have fairly good idea as to what are the areas where the litigation is happening. You may have fairly good idea as to what you are supposed to do. But then, the extent of what you can do needs to be expanded. Unfortunately, given the kind of competition that the profession has, your profession has, I would say, any client that comes to you does not actually want any kind of breach in comfort. He always thinks that once I have hired a chartered accountant, he should be the panacea for all my ills. He doesn't want to go back deep into the material, doesn't want to provide you all those details, which possibly and lawfully you are required to do. But then, you also, in order to sort of professionally comfort your client, accept those part details, and with those part details, you proceed to determine the arm's length price. There has been a phenomenal level of adverse criticism of these stands taken by the department on various fronts in transfer pricing areas. There has been a kind of a hue and cry and allegation that the department has been high-handed. I don't want to defend that here, But I just want to say one thing about it. One, as professionals, you need to look at and introspect yourself whether are you contributing to this kind of an issue. If you are not contributing to such kinds of high-handed or high-pitched additions or adjustments, then probably you would be fair and reasonable to allege that the department has been high-handed. Primarily, I feel that it is not the law which actually is at any shortage, either with you or with the department. And there is no lack of comprehension of the law, either in the profession or in the department. Probably what lacks is the visibility into the facts of the case. And therefore, I would want to end my this address with the emphasis that here your speakers are going to be excellent. They are going to give you a phenomenal piece of knowledge to you. You will very well know about this subject, law, controversies, but do not forget to do your basics of knowing facts of the case. With this, I take my seat back. I thank the organizers for inviting me here. And I congratulate this organization to conduct this course year after year in demystifying and helping to demystify the knowledge of transfer pricing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gulati, for this excellent and concise keynote address. May I now request Ananda to offer the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir, for the giving the participants a background of what they are going to experience over the next 6 years, why the subject of transfer pricing is so important and gaining ground for the past so many years. Thank you, sir, also for giving us a perspective of the department in the area of transfer pricing, how their perspective is probably undergoing a change over time with the way the facts are presented by the assessees or the representatives of the assessees also. With that, I request all of you to carry the thanks with a loud applause. Thank you. We will now continue with the first session for the course. We are not taking a break right now. We will take a break for tea after this session. And I